Good afternoon once again, I'd say to everybody.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Very good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I'm Sovia. Uh, Good afternoon, sir. I'm Sovia, and we are working here in the university, taking care of the language school. And the language school is into skill development for our students to make them industry ready. And we have three verticals here. One is the language skill development, rather, I'd say four verticals. The other is foreign languages that we are doing for our students. So we have five foreign languages. We have German, Spanish, French, Japanese, and Mandarin. So our students take to these foreign languages, and these are all internationally certified courses. And the third vertical is we train our students into soft skills and to make them industry ready. And the fourth vertical, which we are the next one, which we are into right now, is our endeavor, our initiative in the industry, which we is under the banner of Explorate. So we do assist the industry personnels, the working professionals, into upscaling themselves, because see, we understand that learning is a lifetime affair. It's not that it's only once that we need to learn something. It's a lifetime affair, and for which we need to keep upscaling ourselves throughout our life. Like that. For which this initiative under the banner of Explorate, wherein we keep imparting being academia. So that is our like a CSR mandate. Under the CSR mandate, we keep doing that for the industry. And the kind of industries that we are into is IT industry, the software and designing industry, then manufacturing industry, service industry, extensively, and healthcare industry too. When I say healthcare, it's not only hospitals, it's not only doctors, it's even the pharmaceutical and furthermore. So today we are here to talk about strategic communication. And could I just take a quick response? I would appreciate for now, because we have to be in time. One quick response. Why do you think are we talking about strategic communication through this platform? Why stress? Because so far, I'm sure you all must have been, come across people talking about effective communication or communication skills and all that, which I'm not here to talk about communication skills, because I'm very confident that we as working professionals are already equipped with our communication skills. But why this topic, strategic communication? So, can I take a quick response from anybody who would like to take to, please? But it has to be a quick one, please. Anyone who wants to? Sir, you aren't audible, sir?
Yeah, I'm saying, what is the question? Can you repeat, please?
No, Rajesh, sir. It is, I'm asking you that why strategic communication? Why this topic are we discussing here today?
I can answer according to my industry, the software industry. So, the main problem that we face is miscommunication most of the times. So and the whole business model is dependent on the communication. So the software requirements comes from the mind of client, then product manager, then to the developers and the testers. So it's very means it's must to communicate very clearly and effectively, and so that there's no miscommunication and there's no time wasted and resources wasted, I guess.
Perfect, perfect. Well received. Thank you. Thank you for that. And yeah, so definitely, so that there is no miscommunication or a barrier there, and because we are talking, most of the time we are communicating with our working partners, maybe through a digital platform or a distant platform, it could be any. And even if it's a, one-on-one communication as in a physical setup, then also communication is very important, that it needs to be carefully and delicately handled. Either it'll make it or it'll break it. So it only goes two ways. There's no midway to it, right? However, why are we talking specifically about strategic communication? Because the strategic communication is a technical construct from the theory of leadership. So it is the theory of leadership that this construct is from. So why are we specifically talking about this today is this construct was always there in leadership theory. If you just go by various leadership styles and everything, you get to hear the strategic communication construct there. However, this has got the center stage or prominence during this pandemic, because during this pandemic, during the unprecedented times which threw us in an sudden lockdown, and this did not happen to one town, it did not happen to one nation, it happened worldwide. Suddenly everything comes on a standstill, right? We don't know what's next, we don't know how things would move. So came, the owners came on the leadership of the nations, leadership of the industry, of the business houses, and leadership anywhere and everywhere. Leadership could be our own selves, leadership could be we at our homes, right? We did not know what's the next step, what's the way forward. So, this was strategic communication suddenly got its prominence. It should have got it for so many years, because this pandemic that we have experienced globally, and the lockdown, sudden lockdown, suddenly we are told, oh, you're in a lockdown. I believe people within the last century have never not only experienced, could not have dreamt something like this. Yeah, that suddenly something will happen. I remember when I was a kid, I did experience the blackouts due to India-Pakistan war, right? With the sunset, there used to be blackouts. And I was a very small kid then. Yeah, I did experience that. But this kind of a lockdown, I think generations, two generations above me also may never have experienced, may never have thought of it, may never have dreamt of it, right? So that is how this gave us, this construct came into sight, that is strategic communication. And this is the responsibility, this gave a responsibility to the leadership, as I said, that what is the way forward, what to do about the situation, how to deal with the situation, how to go ahead, what is the way forward, how to keep our people moving. And we all know, sitting on this platform, we are very well aware of this, that this pandemic caused extreme anxiety, extreme apprehensions, right? And of course, there were a lot of fallouts of this pandemic. There were a lot of layoffs and everything happening everywhere, so which caused anxiety and apprehensions to people. That was the responsibility of the leader then. They had to take to the strategic communication. So we'll talk about it during the session, before which I would really want you to quickly log into menti.com. Please quickly log into menti.com. So I would really request you to quickly log into menti.com. Here on the slide, in the end here, towards the end, below the image,
Okay.
it's given there, www.menti.com.
Menti.
Yeah, please take this code here, 8250323. My colleague, uh, Assistant Professor Deepthi Awasthi, is my co-host, and she'll be handling the chat box. She's writing for you the code, and she'll be definitely responding to all your queries and chats there. Yeah. So 8250323. Were you able to do so?
Yeah.
All right. So please take to this response there. And the question there is, you see the question there, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
attributes of an effective leader.
Yeah.
Please
Uh,
quickly, per participant, you can take to two responses. Okay, team
mhm.
member, captain. Okay, all right. Everybody must register the responses, please. We just have 30 seconds for this, please.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's done from my side.
great. Lead from front, effective communicator. Yeah. Empathy, very good. So I believe, guys, you have to start patting yourself, your back. Okay. All right. Nice. Influencer. Okay. Empathy, team member, lead from front. Yeah. Patience. Okay. Very well. Okay.
Thinking about effective
Group,
communication,
group
communication,
together.
correct. Team
Thinking
member,
about others. Very well. Very well.
integrity, empathy.
Something more? Could I see the cloud going bigger? So the sun is, the sky is clear, but we could have a dense cloud there. Yeah. Self awareness. Very well. Thinking about others. Very well. Time management. Perfect. Okay. Strongness of the team. Okay. Very well. Are any more responses being registered, or shall we? Okay. Lead from front is what we talked about already. Okay. So this is how your responses appear. Please take a look at it. This is how your instant decision. Yes. Very good. Okay. Now there are a couple of things more which we can add to this, which is perseverance. So perseverance is one a big attribute which a leader must have. Resilience is very strong, and those who are keen readers, and in these times and during this pandemic, if you've been reading a lot, you must have come across this buzzing word, which is resilience. Resilience is something to bounce back quickly, because that's the very keen quality of a leader. That whatever has happened, and suddenly something has happened, and it's left everybody in a state of shock, and rather in a state of confusion. But still, how quickly the leader bounces back and takes to action. So that's very important. So yes, these are some of the attributes that we're talking about an effective leader. Yes, and somebody talked about to be an effective communicator, thinking of others, empathy. Now, empathy. How do you express empathy? How do you exhibit that you're an effective leader? Then teamwork. Somebody talked about that. So everything around this. Do you agree with me enough that the very first word of today's talk series, that is strategic, plays a role here? Quickly, could I have a yes or no, please?
Yeah,
Yeah, perfect. So now we're talking about strategic communication, and we can quickly take to understand what is the power of communication. Now, see this very famous slogan, and as Indians, I'm very sure we've been reading in our history books throughout our school, and thereafter we keep listening to it, which is "Give me blood, and I shall give you freedom." Netaji spoke these words to the countrymen before independence, right? What do you think? If you have to analyze this little slogan here, what do you think he's trying to do? What did he try using these words? This kind of a language.
I think he's, trying to convince the people to trust him with very effective strategic words, using very strategic words, so
Very
that
nice.
they can connect with the, emotionally with them.
Perfect, perfect. Very good, very good. So definitely one that he's convincing people. So that is the negotiation that he's making. That is the deal that he's making. Now, being a software company, when you are speaking to your clients, you're communicating with your clients, there are times, and I think mostly is when that you are negotiating. Negotiating is not bargaining, right? Negotiating is not at all bargaining. Negotiating is a business language. You are all the time negotiating over various things, right? You agree, or you make them agree with them, agree with you. So that's the kind of communication that it plays throughout. So negotiation is very important here. And this is what, through these words, this kind of language, the strategic language here, is what Netaji tried to negotiate with the people, the countrymen. He tried to awake them from the chuckles of slavery. And he wanted to make them aware of that, listen, we are not going to settle for the slavery anymore, right? And I assure you that I give you freedom. However, you have a role to play. So he is giving direction to the countrymen, making them understand their responsibility, their role, what they need to do, what action they need to take, right? See, he's motivating them also. He's touching their emotional chord as well, as in the empathy there. He empathizes with them that no longer I want my countrymen to lead a life of slavery. So he's very empathetic through these words, right? So see all those skills which you wrote on that cloud of being an effective communicator can be seen here. And this is very this kind of a language is very is strategic. Why? Because there is a purpose behind it. There is a goal to achieve. There is an aim to achieve. There is a vision. Any company, yours and mine too, right? We have a vision and mission, right? So the leader's role, and leader is not only the person who has a designation to it. Okay, there's a leader is anybody and everybody who can direct people, who can take initiative. We have talked about what is an effective leader, who's an effective leader, who can work in a team, who can drive a team, right? Who has creative ideas, who's innovative. Anybody is a leader, not the people coming with a designation. They are managers, right? So, everybody sitting on this platform, I strongly believe we are all leaders in our own capacity, right? In my own capacity, I'm a leader. In your own capacity, you are a leader too. So, how do you first and foremost, to understand the urgency of the situation, to align your thoughts, your aims, your goals with the company's goals, right? Or the other way around, right? So, first to understand the need of the hour, then to motivate and inspire your team and to bring them on the same platform, driving them for the same cause, driving them to take an action, right? Plus, along with that, this is enough. This is, we think this is what a leader would do, but no, it doesn't stop anywhere so close. Then what happens thereafter? Then is the time when a leader would exactly tell them, exactly show them the direction, exactly tell them how to go about it. First, he motivates. First, he understands himself the vision, the need of the hour, then creates the urgency towards it, right? Thereafter, he motivates and creates a team around it. And then he shows the direction, which is very meaningful, which is purposeful, which is achievable. However, he never misses on the emotional intelligence. He's all the time empathetic towards his people. He assures what they need, how to facilitate them in the whole process of achieving their goals. Right? So, this is exactly what Netaji, by speaking these words, by uttering these words, he assured them that he would give them freedom. He would take them out of the cruel chuckles of slavery, not let them lead the miserable life of slavery anymore. But he also woke them up by telling them what was their duty. They needed to give their blood, as in they should be ready to fight along with him, ready to sacrifice a lot of things which they may have to, right? But were and come on a common platform for a common goal, right? And together achieve it. So this is what he did. Now you may wonder, oh, this is the duty of a nation's leader. But let's see some few examples. Or I'll just take one example from the business world as well. We all are aware of Steve Jobs, right? And many, which is one out of them is my own self. We are crazy about his leadership skills, right? So he said this to his team, to his partner, his partner. He said this: do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life, or come with me and change the world? How can you analyze this little dialogue here, this quotation from Steve Jobs? If anybody could quickly do it for me. Yes, please.
I believe that
First thing is that he said this statement to his chief marketing officer,
Yes,
who
please.
was ex CMO of PepsiCo. So he just offered him that what more can be offered to this world? Like Pepsi is just about selling the sweet sugar water. But what these guys are doing at Apple headquarters was something beyond than that, that can influence the lives, that can change the lives of people with the help of technology. But that thing, that sugar water, that's gonna remain the same for the entire time. That's not gonna bring that influence. So he was trying to motivate him that he can go for more, that he can change the world with the partnership with the leading tech company.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I must say, wonderful, absolutely. May I quickly take your name, please?
Karan Sharma,
Karan, thank you so much for the wonderful response. Very
Sharma.
well understood. Very well understood. So, definitely, yes, he motivated, he challenged. A leader's responsibility is definitely to motivate and inspire. But at the same time, leader should know the potential of his team, of his people. He should be able to map their potential. At times how it so happens that I may not know my own potential, but if the leader behind me, it's his responsibility to really map my potential and challenge me, to exploit it to the most. So to exploit your potential, explore and exploit it to the most is what also the leader's responsibility is. So what did he do? He told the CEO there, right, that not to settle with something only this much. There is much more to do, and you can do that. He had mapped his potential, and he challenged him to achieve way more than just settling for something very little in comparison to what Apple is now, right? Also, that look at the language if you can quickly take a look at it. He touched the emotional chord by hitting it on him, saying, "Do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life?" I mean, that's where it's thought provoking. There's where, you just pick up somebody and, shake the person and say, "Come on, wake up, sit. You can do much better. Do not settle with such less." Right? So, this is what he did. And come with me and change the world. So, he showed him the direction to where to go. He motivated, he challenged his people to take action to achieve way more. Right? So, this is the power of the leader's communication. And this is what exactly is strategic communication, when it is not only motivating, it is empathetic, it shows you direction, and it is very purposeful, very purposeful. However, how it should be done, we're going to talk through the session. Now, the role of communication. Please take to mentee.com once again and take to this code 296345. I would like to I would like you to register quickly within 30 seconds, please. The responses. What is the role of communication? What do you think is the role of communication?
296345.
Yes, please.
What do you think is the role of communication?
Growth, motivation. Okay, very well. Yeah, 30 seconds, please. You have to be a little quick, people. Expression. Okay, okay. Effective understanding. Yeah. Clarity of ideas. Very well. Okay. Learning. Yeah. Okay. Bring something together, you said. Okay. Passing your idea very well. The understanding. Okay, I'll quickly share. I'll quickly present this. Let's see how it is. Okay, this is how it has come up. Let us be able to talk to others. Okay. 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 All right. Now let's look at this. See, most of the things here, expressing ourselves, passing ideas, effective understanding, to share ideas. motivation. Now, everything around here, I'll quickly go back to the presentation, and let's see. In earlier times, we talked about the role of communication as exchange of ideas, right, for getting some work done. It was a two-way process. In today's time, that is quite a cliche, right? It's no longer the role of communication because every thing evolves and develops, right? And that was the stage when communication, to make people more communicative or more effective at their communication, we needed to make them understand it as that. However, we have crossed that stage, and in today's scenario, we got to be emotionally intelligent. Communication is all about perceiving emotion, right? How would you convey an idea if you cannot emotionally connect to something? Whatever idea comes. I was reading somewhere this article, and I was also talking to one of my colleagues. So he is from the designs background. So this is what we were talking about. Like we see the digital games and all that, or any gaming, we talk about. Everything has a psychology to it. The role of psychology, the role of cognitive skills. So whatever communication takes place, it's governed by cognitive skills. That is the psyche, because we are humans. We have our own psyche, we have our own cognitive skills, and every person is unique. So it is different. There is so much of variation there. So the role of communication in today's scenario and the coming times, it's perceiving emotions first and foremost. Then facilitating thoughts using emotions. How would you convey an idea? You have to facilitate your thoughts using emotions. You have to understand them not only with the help of your brain, but also you have to turn it around your emotions and understand that how would the other person take it, how would the other person perceive it. So that is very important to perceive, right? Understanding emotions, others' emotions, yes, and managing emotions. So this is the new definition of the role of communication, right? It's no longer the two-way process and all of that, right? So emotional intelligence, however, does not mean that it is the opposite of intelligence. It is rather, uh, you know, uh, it is a unique intersection of both. No way it is the triumph over triumph over head of the heart. It's the unique intersection. As I said, it's no longer only the functioning of the brain to process communication. It is also the heart, the feelings, the emotions involved to actually understand what needs to be conveyed. So while dealing with clients, it's very because, and then I'm very confident that you must be into, cross-cultural communication also. Every culture has their own, norms and their own practices, their own beliefs. So to understand an other person's emotions around it is very important, and to respect the mutual respect is very important. So that is how emotional intelligence relevance. It is that aspect of human intelligence that governs our ability to recognize, understand, control, and use emotions in solving problems. And you can see from the image, this is what emotional intelligence does. Self-awareness, motivation, empathy, communication, listening, change, all of that which we have just now on the mentimeter.com done all those things, right? Now, the components of emotional intelligence, there are two segments. One is self, and the other one is social. When I talk about self, it is to one's own self. It is first and foremost self awareness. So, if you are aware of yourself, or if you keep working on yourself through introspection, practice of introspection, or there is another way of also doing it by seeking peer feedback. That's very important. And in business world, peer feedback plays a huge role, right? You will be able to manage your own emotions well. Okay. And the social aspect is your self awareness ability, skill would lead you to be socially aware also. Somebody who's emotionally intelligent and who can manage his own emotions is always more sociable and always is able to understand others' emotions and accommodate them and respect their emotions too. And the social awareness, if you are so, that will help you to manage your relationship. And we understand in today's scenario, relationship management and networking in itself is a big skill required in industry, right? So that's the role, and this is the significance of emotional intelligence, which is an iceberg model. So behavior and performance is something which is shown, which people can see, it is visible to others. However, it is governed by the iceberg, which is hidden, which is not shown. Whatever the way I'll behave, the way I'll conduct myself, or the way I'll react to a situation would be what is going within me. So if I am sorted within my own self, as in my thought process, my emotions, I have a right attitude, my personal values, my ethical values, moral values, and those very important values, if I am able to manage them and if I possess strong ones, then definitely the behavior which will be showcased to the world, right, would be desirable and would be appreciated. There is something, these are renowned psychologists, Joe and Harry, and there is some window called as Joe Harry window. It's their model, Joe Harry model, right? So there are times when we are all are in window number two, wherein we cannot see our own behavior. We cannot see how we behave, how we react. Even our eyes give a lot of words, unspoken words to the message conveyed, right? Or a facial expressions. Suddenly something happened and my expressions change, right? But the other person, I may not be able to read my own self. However, the world is able to view me, because in that moment, I am pretty preoccupied with certain emotions which are bothering me or disturbing me, or I am not taking care of those, or if I'm not emotionally intelligent, but the world still views me, right? So it is very important to be emotionally intelligent, to be an effective communicator, or to possess effective strategic communication skills, right? So what does it do? This is what we have already talked about: information, ideas, thoughts, feelings, emotions. uh, what is it that hinders us to be effective communicator or being very good at strategic communication? There could be linguistic issues, right? I may not be very good with the usage of language, or because of the cultural differences, right? I may not know the particular language that I am supposed to speak in, right? I may not choose the right words. That could be one thing, but that's very negligible. Okay, what is more important? Linguistics is much more than the words spoken. Linguistics is how those words are spoken. It is the intonation. It is the intonation. It is the body language. It's the non-verbal communication. So linguistics here is less of the words chosen. I may say please and everything to you, very honey coated words I use. However, my body language, my facial expressions, my tone, the quality of my voice, if it's harsh, if it's rough, I'll sound very rude. If it's very high, too high a volume, I'll sound very arrogant. I'll sound very aggressive, right? So it is the linguistic variation which we need to work on, right? There could be cultural differences which stops us from being effective strategic communicators. Also the interpersonal skills. If I miss out on my interpersonal skills, now what are interpersonal skills which I have been talking about? We got to be emotionally intelligent. For that, even for linguistic skills, we got to be emotionally intelligent, right? We should know what are we speaking, where are we speaking, and when and how it should be spoken, right? That's very important. It could be certain physical challenges also. When I say physical challenges, let's say I am communicating with you here just now and there is a big bang there, right? So that is a barrier, that's a noise. Or there is something going within my own self, some disturbance. Let's say you are listening to me right now in this session, but there is that, oh, I'm watching for my time, be a barrier, that could be a disturbance, distraction caused, right? So these are the things. So communication style, which should be the best chosen style, is the assertive behavior. And assertive is the interpersonal and communication both, which is you respect your own needs and the others' needs too. You should know how to make it a win-win. I respect mine and the others. And then we have to take to a, even if there is a difference of opinion, but we have to take to the mid course. How do we come to an understanding? Cross the language barriers, okay, cultural differences, yeah. And like I was reading the other day, and so it says that people in Latin American or Arab countries and all that, if the meeting is scheduled for, let's say, 3:30, they are okay to start it by 3:35. That's how their beliefs are. However, if you are there with the Scandinavian countries or Germany, and they are very punctual. To them, it's a minute which matters. To them, it's a second which matters. So those kind of cultural differences do hinder our strategic communication. Values, attitude is an opinion, and noise is what I've already spoken as physical this thing, right? How do we overcome these barriers? Is connecting with the audience. That's very important. Use simple language. No need to use very high flown vocabulary, which a common person may not be able to understand. There'll be a communication failure because you will not be, the person will not be able to perceive your message the way it should be. The right body language, cultural sensitivity, checking for understanding is very important, right? Seeking participation from your listeners, from your other side of the audience or the communicators, right? Who may be passive in the whole scene, but it's very important to understand their understanding as well. Then do keep asking effective questions. By doing so, you are seeking for their participation as well as for understanding as well. And towards the end, just summarize it quickly. And the summarizing part should be crisp, very precise, very concise, right? There are certain best practices. So we'll take a quick look at it. Think before you speak. Being very agile while the other person is speaking. So be a good listener as well. Be very open minded and be very objective. Do not sit there with own preconceived opinions and notions, and yeah, do not be opinionated. Use your voice to the best. I talked about intonation a while before. So voice is something which plays a huge role in non-verbal communication, because from that you understand the emotion of the message, right? As I said, we may use the politest and honey coated words, but if my voice is not in tandem, if I'm not, my voice is not polite, that will be negative to it. Then respond in a timely manner, ask questions for clarity. Okay, and this is what we've already spoken about. Constructive feedback. You should be able to give as well as well receive the constructive feedback, and peer feedback is always a great learning opportunity. Yeah. So if you Albert Einstein rightly said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So strategic talk bridges the gap between the leader's intent and followers' understanding. This is exactly what a strategic communication is, or it between two people. What a person wants to say and then the other person understands is for the favorable outcomes is what strategic communication is. Now, everybody at workplace has certain internal communication. First and foremost, internally, there's a new person there. You have to orient the person, and I'm sure Akriti has to do the being an HR has to do this task. Along with, of course, maybe many more at the organization, you have to orient the person about the organization's culture, working environment, and many more things, rules and regulations, and many more things. Indoctrination, which is again what they have their certain queries. As a newcomer, he may have a lot of questions there. He may want to know certain things, so he should be well answered and is well informed about everything related to his job, so that he's at peace and he's able to perform, right? Keeping up their morale high and to keep, for their satisfaction, this internal communication, strategic communications plays a huge role. For anything which wherein there is an organizational development or a change taking place, the team, if they are well informed and they are brought on the same table to achieve the common goal, is their strategic communication helps, and effective employee communication also, right? Why is strategy important? Taking time to agree what you want to achieve. This is very important. Plan ahead rather than last minute panic. identify and seek resources, exploit all channels available, identify risks and plan how to deal with them, and a plan against which to measure success. There is where strategy is required, right? And it's a process which helps you learn, lessons for the future as well. So that's something which you're doing now, but you have to have a preparedness for the coming times as well, right? So when this pandemic happened, even the this what do you say, the IT companies, as in what do you say, these mobile companies, data providers, they were not equipped with the kind of bandwidth that would have suddenly the demand for the bandwidth was required. They were not ready for that. But because of their preparedness beforehand, that is how industry works. So they could, with very quickly, with that resilience, they could bounce back and gear up themselves and immediately, cater to the need of the nation, right? There is enough data on this that this is exactly how it happened, right? Initially, yes, because suddenly the situation came, but then they bounced back quickly. So that is how planning for your future is very important. Now, what are the elements of strategic communication? That is, the audience, you should have clarity of them. It should be relevant to them, accurate, and serving to their needs. What kind of a message are you conveying, and what is the channel that you're using for it? That is also what you need to take care of. And issues and their intended impact information quickly. All these things are to be taken care of. Then, at the same time, one has to take care of financial and non financial aspects both. When I say non financial, it is the personal development. Like you people are sitting here in this session today, this is your personal development, right? This is how, and this is how a professional keeps growing, he keeps learning, right? So this is the kind of initiatives by industries that they help their people grow. And also ownership and following timelines, that's very important. Now, what are the characters impacting organizational purpose? So there should be, we have talked about aims and objectives, keeping in mind the people around it, the aims of the organization, who are the stakeholders around it, keeping them in mind. What is the organizational size and structure, keeping all these things in mind, and then working towards it, right? I'll just for now skip this quiz. We'll come to it in case we are left with time. As of now, I'm just missing it out. Coming to the other thing, what do you want them to know? This is the purpose of strategic communication. What exactly you want the other person to know? What do you want them to think? So these are the questions which I need to first take to my own self if I want to really have be sure of the communication, that it is 100% strategic. So what is it that I want people to know, right? What is it that I want them to think about? What do you want them to do? What is the action thereafter that I'm looking for? Why should I care for all of this, or why should I care for the people's development, or why should I care for the end result? And how does it help me, or how does it affect me? So all the above three, what are they going to bring it back to me? So naturally, if you're thinking of something, there has to be an outcome to your own self, right? And according to that, please, it should be tailor made, okay, to avoid any kind of contradiction and any kind of such promises which may not be met.
I have a question,
Yes,
ma'am.
please,
If
please.
yeah, it maybe it is very novice at this point,
Yeah.
but can you just give a difference? Normally, when we talk about communication, we say that he is a effective communicator and
Okay.
effective communication.
Yeah.
So, what is the difference between the normal communication and the strategic communication?
Perfect, perfect. As I said, in earlier times we were talking about. So the answer to response to your question is exactly what I was about to do here. You look at the slide, please. But I'm going to talk about it now. As I said, so there was a time, let's say 15 years back, when being an effective communicator meant only being good at the language. Let's say if the official language is English, to be very fluent at it, to speak it nicely, to be able to carry yourself, walk your talk, you can by any chance recall this jargon being used a lot in the industry, and at times it was also used in advertisements and all, walk your talk. But now is the gone days for that. Because now within these 15 years minimum, people have grown to that level. They are able to walk their talk, right? They are able to, use the language effectively. They are fluent at it. They are able to do that. Or at least they are aware of the need of it. They know that if this is my weakness, I need to work on this weakness. They are able to identify the need for fluency of the language and projecting themselves aligned with it, right? However, the difference between effective communication and being an effective strategic communication, this is the next level, requirement, which is now it is the motivating language. And the dimensions to the motivating language, if you go back, I said direction giving, I said meaning making or purpose. When I was discussing those slogans, when we were analyzing those early two slogans of a national leader and a business leader, right? From history and from contemporary both. That is the thing. Even in history, Netaji Subhash Chandra is from history, right? We in those times also that was seen. But as I said right in the beginning, that strategic communication did not get that kind of mileage in earlier times. But in now's times when the world has gone global, the business has become very dynamic. So it has found its feet now. So the language should be direction giving. Whatever you talk to your people, you should be able to give them the direction. You should be able to motivate them to take action and tell them how exactly they should be able to. I'm like, I don't mean exactly, I don't mean that spoon feed anybody, but yes, it should be self explanatory in a way that they understand. If I have to achieve this goal, what do I need for this? Right? You should, as a leader, be able to direct them towards that, right? It should be purposeful, meaning making, aligning with the aim of the organization so that there is a common goal to be achieved, right? At the same time, it should be empathetic. You should be able to analyze and gauge their needs, okay, the need of the action which is to be taken, and how the person working on it would be comfortable doing it. So make the situation comfortable, make it very. So there is something in the management theory. There is something called as organizational citizenship behavior. So this all drives the people towards organization citizenship behavior. What is organization citizenship behavior is that apart from my KRA, from my main work, how am I, without being told, how am I contributing towards the organization's growth? It could be by my interpersonal skills. If I'm very good at my interpersonal skills, I'm a good team player. Anybody coming into the team, we can work together and work for common goals, right? So make it very meaningful along with empathetic. Was I able to answer your question, please? Have I
Yeah.
answered it?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right.
Thank you.
Pleasure. And you'll see the indicators how we achieve these. So here I'm sharing the indicators now. The direction giving language, expectation setting of KRAs, right in the beginning, that expectation, or even if from time to time, because it's not one time KRA is told and it's a lifelong. Somebody who's been old in the system, the KRAs could also evolve as the organization evolves, right? So that expectation setting from the person, you want a certain work to be done, and these KRs could be project specific also, but that expectation setting should be very clear, very very clear. There should be clarity, right? It shouldn't be ambiguous, that I have not told clearly what exactly we are looking at, and then I expect the person to deliver on that, right? Then feedback plays a huge role, right, for the self and for the project, for the team, for the organization eventually. It plays a
Can you
huge
please
role.
repeat KRA? What we mean by KRA?
All right, key responsibility area.
Okay.
All right. So this
Okay.
particular work, what exactly it demands? What is the demand of the this particular work, right? So KRA is key responsibility area. Okay. Easily understandable work-related instructions. Those should be very simply told, but very clearly and specifically told. Okay. Nothing should be ambiguous. right? Helpful directions to improve, boost performance. Give them ideas. How could they perform better? If somebody has done, let's say, 5%, how could he make it 10% the next time? How could he achieve 20% the next time? Tell him the ways, give him more ideas of going to the next level, right? Extending clear problem solving instructions. So a leader's role is very importantly to solve problems, right? So that is how it should be done, providing relevant information and changes which were in past or forthcoming. Whatever is evolving or changing, there should be proper communication around it so that people can align their vision along with the changing needs. Okay. Relevant organizational information needed for performance. This is very important to share information about organizational's achievement. Because if the people that your team does not know that what already the team has achieved or what already the organization has achieved, maybe the organization has already achieved at a mark of 10 and people are still delivering at a mark of 5. So unless I sensitize them of that, how will they really raise up their bars, right? So it's very important. Empathetic language is very important. Show trust in them, show trust in your people, right? Spend time talking with the team, right? That's very important. Give feedback in a manner to validate their feelings. Feedback should not be criticism. Feedback should always be a sandwich. Please find out what good is it that they are doing, then find out the areas of improvement. Okay, make them understand you're already doing so much good, however you can go to the next level by doing this as well, right? And then sandwich it by motivating them that yes, you can do that, you have tremendous potential and you can very well do it. So the feedback should be given in such a manner, but feedback has a very critical role to play. At the same time, your language, your voice, everything, choice of words, tone, everything, body language should be rest assured very polite while doing a feedback. It cannot be harsh, shouldn't be, as in, right? Encourage them for their effort. Okay, concern towards their professional well-being and development. Yes, as a leader, one should be concerned that how my people are growing, what should be offered to them, or what should they look at to develop themselves. Concern towards their job satisfaction. So please look into it. If somebody is finding some problem, what is the reason? How can I, as a leader, help him coming out of that situation? Right? It is to be done that. Maybe he needs just a counseling session. Maybe he needs to be given an alternative. So, whichever way, and help them nurture good relations with others. So, this can be done by creating a lot of, team building exercises, and that creates an there is I talked about OCB, that is organizational citizenship behavior. There is some other construct called as organizational culture. So this good relations can be maintained by creating organizational culture, which is very positive, and be empathetic towards their needs, right? I said meaning making is the third strategy. We are talking about the strategies, the dimensions of strategies. This is the third strategy. Tell them about the protocols. What are the various protocols to be observed at the organization? Also about the key events that they take place on the organization so that they can see, grab an opportunity around that and be participative. So you encourage them participating in whatever is happening at the organization, to tell them about organizational opportunities, share stories of who worked hard and have been rewarded in the organization. So such exemplary, you must have seen, even on a petrol pump, they put star of the month, you know. So it is all about meaning making language. You're creating a culture of the organization. With the help of meaning making language, you create that organizational culture, which I just spoke about, right? Provide new entrants with information about the organization's culture and tell them what they need to do to fit into that culture. That's very important, and help them make sure that they are facilitated towards it. Tell the existing people about how to succeed in the organization's culture and educate them. I'm very sorry for that D there. Educate them about organization culture relevant for their job, how it would make add value to their job. That's important, right? There are certain tips. The first thing is work backwards from your deadlines. So always first chalk out the whole plan and start working backwards. Okay, then only will you be able to meet the deadline. Keep sharpening your saw is what Stephen Covey, in his 7 Habits of Effective Leaders, he talked about. So keep sharpening your saw. Coordinate who is to be told what and when. You should know exactly for this particular work, whom am I going to talk about? When am I going to talk about? And what is it that I'm going to talk about? That's very important. Precise and concise is very important, right? Create a timetable of activities, like prioritize yourself. So if you've jotted down your timetable, you'll be able to prioritize. If you've made a to do, then you'll be able to prioritize, right? Monitor timetable and adjust as necessary. You know how it happens? I have, let's say, planned my week or my month, right? But there is a last minute and it's an urgency. Then I'll keep altering. So if I keep monitoring my timetable, I'll be able to adjust as per the need of the hour, right? Have one or two clear objectives. That's very important. Do not have too many things on your platter. So let's not have a leftover thali, that one spoon of this thing left at home and let's have a dinner of this, because then how it so happens you will not be able to relish any, right? So maybe one or two very clear objectives at a time. This is what I need to achieve. This is what I need to do. Please work on it thoroughly, 100%, and then move on to the next, right? List of key audiences. You should know who your audience is. So I think Akriti will be able to throw light on this. So when we were planning this session for all of you, the first thing she asked me, what you need from me? I said, I need the demography, because I should know who I am speaking to. And even now, when Akriti before the session asked me that, ma'am, some may not be able to switch on their video. No, do they need to switch on their video? I said, yes, for a while. If the bandwidth doesn't allow eventually, then it's okay. But initially, yes, because talking to blind walls will not make sense to me, right? I need to know. That's how in between I did ask for your names as well, right? So you should know who you are, who your audience is. Audience could be internal, could be external, could be your clients, could be your own team. You should know that. Summarize the key activities and dates, right? Just a food for thought here. What do we value? This is what is too very subjective to each individual. What is it that you are looking for? What is it that matters to you? What is it that you really value? Yes, because whatever you will value, you will be able to. And it is very important to understand and write it down somewhere. It's just not okay, chalte fitte, I've done it. You got to write it down, because that is answer to 100 questions there. Then only you'll be able to plan yourself around it. What are my aims? What are my objectives? What are my goals to be achieved? My short term goals, my long term goals. How do I align myself, my own goals, with my organization's goals? Right? So that is very important to understand. How do I behave in a certain situation? Because this is what I value, this is what I'm looking for. So what is it is needed from my end, right? So that's very important. What behavior should we demonstrate with our customers, partners, and vendors? So please, you got to be a little empathetic here. You got to see it from, play a devil's advocate, right? Assume yourself to be in their shoe, and then see, what do I expect? How I should be behaved with, how I should be dealt with. So work the devil's advocate for yourself. How it so happens, we are all humans. We understand our needs, we understand our beliefs, our choices, our dislikes and everything. What we grossly miss is that we only are governed and ruled by our own demands of our personality or life or whichever way. We actually do not even consider the other person anywhere in this frame. So it's really important to consider the other person equally in this frame. This is put yourself on one part, put the other person on the other part, and then see, these are my needs. This is the other person's needs also. He also may demand this, right? Now, what is the best midway to it? And then behave accordingly. How often do you get candid feedback from peers and clients? If that is not that you're as of now indulging into, please do that. It's very important. And how does your leadership define the organizational culture? So you should, for heaven's sake, know what the organization's culture is. See, the organization will not keep changing its own culture as per the need of any individual walking in, right? It is the individual employees who have to alter themselves to the and align their own selves, themselves to the organization's culture. So unless I know what is prevalent at my organization, what is it that they do, what is the kind of environment there is, how would I be able to do it? So it is very important. And please make these your winning points. Be brief, be polite, using I rather than you. Rather, we preferably. I or we is preferred over I as well, rather than you. Why am I saying not you? Because you is something is a blame game. Why didn't you do this? Why did you do that? You were told this. So that is a blame game, right? Why not say, oh, I'm so sorry, I missed out on this. Oh, we could have done it like this, right? Be very positive. Be a very good listener. Spice up your words. I'm saying spice up doesn't mean I'm asking you to use very difficult vocabulary. It's just that spice up means it should be emotionally strong. Your words should be emotionally filled up, right? Clarity should be there. And of course, pronunciation is very important, because with wrong pronunciation, how it so happens is that if we are dealing people with the other culture, then they would not understand what we speak, right? Be genuine to your audience, they will surely respect you, right? But please find for your own voice before that it's lost, okay? So that's very important. uh, Thank you so much. Should you have any questions, you can. I'm happy to take the questions, please. Any questions, please? Any questions anybody has?
No, ma'am.
Should you have any questions, you please can ask me. I hope the session was purposeful.
Yes, that was very purposeful because we, have to deal with clients. We have to also during our communication with our team members as well. So these are the kind of things it has been listed very usefully. So definitely it helps a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Any question?
No, not from my side.
All right.
So, okay, I have one. uh, mm, how to means control your emotions. So suppose you are angry or you are frustrated with some situation, but according to the strategic communication, I do not want to communicate that feeling to anybody, to my team or my client or anyone. So how to manage that?
Perfect. Now there are two strategies. So we are talking about strategy, so let's talk about strategy a little more. There are two strategies. One strategy is which we do to our body, right? That is the physical exercise that we do, which is very important and it actually works, it's proven. One is that if you are somewhere disturbed, okay, so please deep breathe.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm not teaching you yoga because I myself I'm not able to practice yoga much, which I really so want to. But I still I'm talking to you on medical point of view. It is very important to deep breathe. Okay, so one is that once you deep breathe, how it happens, more of oxygen goes to your brain, right? When it goes to your brain, blood circulation takes place. The moment this happens, you feel fresh, you feel more energetic. And the moment that energy flows in your body, believe me, it takes over the energy which was negatively created because of that emotional disturbance, whatever took place. Right? So, this is that physical activity which you need to do. Second activity, which you must have heard right from your childhood, parents kept preaching. Should you, get annoyed, rather than throwing a fit, start counting backwards. 10, 9, 8. So how it so happens? Why this 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 works? Because counting backwards, right, is not what is you are fluent at. We are used to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9, 10. In not even 10 seconds, I was able to do that. But am I able to do the same backwards? No, it is not. right? Unless I've trained myself into it, which I'm sure we have not trained ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So then while I'm doing that, so I'm doing, and I'm trying to do it quickly, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, now 7, 6, and now I stopped. After that, I stopped. So I had to, somewhere my mind started hunting for that 5 to come in. So my mind was distracted from a negative emotion to a constructive emotion, right?
Yes. Yes.
So parents have been telling us, but probably they were not able to explain it us like this, that what is scientific reason behind it. So my brain is distracted from a negative emotion. It is quickly withdrawn to a positive, to a constructive activity, right? So
Yeah.
these are the two physical exercises. And coming to the third one, should time permit you? Should you have time there in between before you can respond to that communication or indulge in that communication any further? Take time off.
Okay.
Okay, take time off, maybe 5 minutes. Just go take a round outside and be back. Because once you've taken time out, you've just walked outside your office space and looked around. You are in Bestech Square, so a lot of activities in your surroundings.
Yeah.
Anywhere for that matter. I'm just kidding. So, like if I have to walk out, I'll just walk out. If I'm disturbed, rather than sitting here and throwing a fit, I'll just walk out and I'll see a lot of greenery and everything, some birds chirping and everything in my university. So that is refreshing my emotions, that is refreshing my brain, my mind. My entire thought process quickly gets changed to again a positive note, right? Should longer time permit you? Do not get into it. Just say, can we call it a day, please? Very politely. If there is an altercation, if there is such a strong difference of opinion, wherein maybe it's not your fault, you are going very strategic with your communication, but maybe the other person is very poor at it, right? So you can simply call it a day off then. You can simply say, maybe call it a day. We
Yeah.
can discuss it another day. Sky is not going to fall down, right?
Yep.
So that's another way of doing this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Dipti also messaged one rule, so that don't promise when you are happy and don't reply when you are angry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Thanks,
absolutely.
Dipti. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other question?
So
Anybody?
they are also working from home.
Okay.
So
I could
just
see the
to
curtains, Rajesh. I could see the curtains and figure out that you were happy.
Yeah.
So happy home working.
Thank you, ma'am.
So how many of we are feeling bad about it that Rajesh is sitting at home and working? Yeah, this is human nature. Jealousy तो बनती है.
yeah, right.
and and, uh, and not jealousy, but yeah,
But this is
we
fun. This
miss
is fun.
well our team activities and all.
This is fun. This is fun.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Any questions? Uh, do you think the session was of relevance to you? It will help you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
it was really good.
Yes, ma'am, Sophia, ma'am, it was a really great session to have today, and I think we all had learned something very important today about the strategic communication. And somewhere down the line, I think we were lacking it when we were talking with our clients, and not just clients, but to each other also. So I think yes, we have learned something really great today, and it was a really great session. I would be, and all the other team members would be looking forward for the next session also. So thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you so much for this great session.
And about the leadership as well, like I must say, leadership is very important for each and every team members. We want everyone here to be a good leader. So
We
this
don't
would
have to wait
really,
for a boss to, take the leadership role, all the responsibility on his shoulder, right? We got
right,
to share that onus. We got to share that responsibility, and all of
exactly,
us, we are leaders. All of us, you know.
right.
And I'm talking to three men that I can see right now. Rest, my colleague Deepti, Akriti, and myself, we are women. But still, I'll share a secret with you as being men that please apply the strategic communication at home as well.
That is most important.
That's really important. That's
Yeah.
really important. Should you
Yeah.
want your day to go well,
Uh,
strategic communication is very important.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Two other people also, that is Muzamil and Vinay, they quickly switched on their cameras. That more men are here. Good, good. So
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
session was I'd rather dedicate it to all men. So please use direction giving, meaning making, and empathetic. So the three dimensions to strategic communication, basically, right?
Exactly.
Thank you so much, everybody. It
Thank you
was
so much, ma'am. Thank you so much,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. See you, and all the best, and have a good day ahead.
Ma'am.
Thank you,
Okay,
ma'am.
bye.
Same
Sure.
to you.
Same to you.
Have a good day.